Hi. Thanks for joining us. We're the International Art Alliance. This is the Palimpsest project. We're 6 artists around the world. We're sending actual artwork to each other to be modified, changed, consecutively modified. And for instance, I'm in Ross in Los Angeles. I'm going to send something over to Laura Spinetto
Hi.
in the UK, who's then going to send it to Cheryl Wilcox in Australia, who's then going to send it to Rose Williams in Vancouver. I'm sorry, British Columbia. I keep saying Vancouver like it's my shorthand for it. Who then sends it to Stephanie McLean in Toronto, Canada, who then sends it to Denise Buisman Pilcher in Quebec. And today we're going to talk about, do the seasons have an effect on our work, on our output, that would be like everything, our work and our output. Laura, you've lived in quite a few kinds of places with seasons, places without seasons. Um, what do you find for yourself?
I discovered that during winter I'm going. I don't know how to say in English when the animal go to sleep.
Hibernate.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hibernation.
Hibernation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And because I found that it's cyclical. Every winter, it's like for me, I go. It's difficult for me to be creative or I think, but I'm not acting. And then with the spring, I start to have a lot of energy, more energy, and I work a lot more. And I discovered that every year it's like this. And every year in winter, I said, "Oh, I don't know. I've lost my passion. I lost my all the idea, the creativity." And so I get frustrated. And then, luckily, spring arrive, and I wake up again. But now I know that it's for a few months, so I have to take advantage for the summer and until I know October, November, and then I will go down again. So just
So Laura, do you find that when you're in the hibernation mode that there's any creating that you do?
Yeah, I use my head. Yes, I am thinking too much, probably. But the problem is that the head that is working anytime, every time, anytime, but I don't have the energy, the active energy to do. So I get frustrated. I go deep, and I'm not saying that it's kind of depression, but sometimes it's bad when you feel that you have to say something, but you cannot because you don't know how to express it. So it's harsh. But in the tender age of 54, I discovered that it's cyclical. So I'm for next year, for next winter. No?
I wonder if the quality of light also might play some part in it. When you were living in, where did you live, in Dubai or someplace in?
I think that I didn't discover until now because you know that I have 3 kids. So with the kids, I wasn't thinking about it because when you have kids, you have to do everything every day. It doesn't matter of the weather of where you are, if you are in Abu Dhabi or in Barcelona or here in UK, you have to prepare something. So probably I wasn't thinking about it. I just probably lived like a period of don't have inspiration or something like this. But now that my kids, 2 of them are out of the house, one is here, but during the day I have my own space to work. So I've discovered that is something that happened to me every year. Also last year happened, but thinking of last year, I thought I made so many things, but in reality, I started in March, April, and finish in November, and then I had my period of hibernation.
Yeah.
Now,
I think I'm a bit like that too. I do. I think I'm most sort of prolific in the spring and the summer, and then the fall, it starts to maybe dwindle a little bit. In the winter, I still create, but it's thinking of it, the volume just isn't as high for some reason in the winter. And I wonder if it does have something to do with the quality of the light, or not the quality of light, but the length of light during the day.
yeah,
And the fact that like where the sun is, like, it's inspiring for me. It gives me energy. Whereby darkness, I just kind of want to go to sleep. And I think maybe our creative juices kind of are affected by that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. During winter, here it's dark at 4:30, 5 in the afternoon, and also in the morning. I wake up during the winter that it's dark. And now too much light in the morning.
Yeah.
Stephanie, is it also like a cold, like a temperature and snow situation for you too? Do you find that when it's like that you're...
It could be, but it's really the light. It's not so much the temperature, but it's really the light for me.
Yeah.
That I need the light to give me energy and to pep me up, to make me happy. I don't need the light to make me happy, but it sure helps. Darkness just doesn't really feed me that much.
Do you tend to be a morning person?
Am I a morning person? I have become a morning person. I have a part-time job now, so I have no choice. I wasn't a morning person, but I actually do enjoy a beautiful walk, 6 o'clock in the morning along the boardwalk. There's nothing more magical than that to me.
Cheryl, what were you saying about?
Oh, hello, darkness, my old friend.
Oh, right.
Simon Garfunkel,
And you live in kind of a, what is it, subtropical area?
Oh, Mediterranean.
Mediterranean.
Sort of a climate. We get down to about, 15 degrees Celsius. But remember, I'm right on the coast. So if I go 5-8 Ks in, they might get down to about 8 degrees Celsius in the winter.
Oh, that's a big difference.
Yeah, because I know that, because I jump in my car seat and it's 15 here, and by the time I get in there, it's colder. The temperature's dropped about 5 degrees in about, yeah. And we don't get a lot of hot, so we don't get the big 40-odd, 42s and all of that. We might get up to about 34. Nice. Yeah, but that's because I am right on this cusp of the ocean. If you go in a little bit, you'll get like hotter temperature. But that's the advantage of being,
So do the different moods of the ocean during the different seasons affect your artwork in any way?
I love it when we have crazy time, with the hurricanes and that. I love the big seas. But there's
it does affect it a little bit.
Yeah, there's always something interesting down. At the moment, we've got a massive drop of jellyfish. We've never really had them before.
Oh, wow.
And another time, they're only those small ones, and often we get blue bottles. But and a few times we get the mutton birds that I think they're mutton birds. They migrate, and a lot of them that don't make it, they fall and they die in the ocean. But depending on the tides, they'll wash up, and there'll be one every meter, whereas other years you won't see them. But it depends on the tides. We've had a pumice drop. There must have been a volcano in the ocean, and all these tiny little pieces of pumice will wash up. But there's always something different to see when you go down to the beach every day. There's always something different. Something's always sort of happening.
So you just love the place you live. They should make that as your slogan or something. You always see something fantastic there, and it's always a place of a source of inspiration. And I think, Rose, you're a bit like that too.
Just one thing. I have to go. That I have to go to pick up my daughter. I'm sorry, so I don't interrupt her. Thank you.
See you next week.
Thank you, Laura. Good seeing you.
Bye, Laura.
So Rose, also you're work is what, like seasonal dependent, but I'm imagining that you track the seasons in a way like none of us really do, because you're looking forward to what's going to happen at that season, and then you put things away like a chef going to
Well,
cook something in the future.
it is the work that I'm doing, the botanical printing especially, it is kind of gardener related. So like a gardener, I anticipate, seedlings in the spring and which dye plants I'm going to be able to plant for myself, or which dye plants I'm seeing springing up in my neighbors' gardens when I go for a walk, that they are unsuspecting that they're dye plants. And, so yeah, the seasons are very influential in my work. Even when I went to Trinidad, of course, the dry season and the rainy season have their different influences. So I was there at the end of the dry season, and there's certain plants that are bearing or blooming or have lost all their leaves or etc. And then as I was leaving, my flight was delayed because rainy season came on really quick, and it just poured and there was flooding and stuff. And like literally overnight, different plants bloomed. And honestly, it was literally overnight. It was like, boing! Oh, a whole different array of botanicals to tap into for the rainy season. So whether it's in the tropics or in the northern hemisphere, people who are working with natural dyes, obviously we're anticipating, our little indigo plants being ready for harvest, or, like last year I hit some goldenrod by the side of the highway, but it was quite late in the season. And this year, believe me, I'm going to be looking for that goldenrod a little earlier on so that I maybe get a little brighter color from it. It's really very seasonal dependent. And I also suffer from the winter doldrums. And even though I might have a freezer full of leaves, sometimes I'm just not feeling the light. And also because part of my process is kind of immersing myself in nature, I don't just like collect the leaves. I go for walks in the woods, and I, look under logs and whatever, dig around and pick branches, and I get into nature. And here in British Columbia, during our rainy season, it can actually be dangerous to go walking in the woods in the winter. Right. Because things can get really muddy and really slippery, and we can have like runoff and whatever, animals coming down lower that I shouldn't encounter, or the fact that even the sound of the rain makes it so that I can't hear a bear or a bear can't hear me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you have to be aware.
Are there pumas there as well? Pumas or
yes,
cougars?
We have cougars. In fact, the trail that I take Cobalt for walks on here in Chilliwack, there was 2 cougar sightings in the fall on that very trail. And I don't go really high up the trail, but there's always the possibility that for whatever reason, the cougar is going to come down lower anyways. So, and especially when I lived on the island in Souk, there's a lot of cougars and a lot of bears, and there's wolves, sea wolves, and you really don't just go walking without considering the season, who you might be disturbing, whether the bears have cubs or not. And really, like when it's blackberry season and I'm really getting into the blackberries and Cobalt's eating the blackberries from me, also the bears are eating the blackberries. So you have to watch for the scat. And literally when you're walking in the woods, you have to call out, hello, bear, hello, bear. So it is prudent where I live to be highly aware of the season when you're going into nature the way I do and the way Cheryl likes to do in Australia. You have to be aware of who you're sharing your environment with and their needs as well as your own. So, for example, the birds during nesting season, I'm not necessarily going to be going and just collecting any leaves anywhere because I can't see the nest, especially for the hummingbird nests. They're really, really small. So just harvesting something thoughtlessly at a certain season can absolutely interfere with the fledglings. So highly aware of how seasons affect the work that I do. Yes.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea about all these things you just talked about. That is amazing. And you have a reality show here of some kind, a travel log or incredible.
In Japan, they had because we did a lot of trail walking in Japan, and they actually have what they call bear bells at the start of the trail. There's a big bell that you have to ring, and there's as soon as you there are multiple bells along the trail, and you have to ring them every time you pass one, just to make sure that there's no bears or monkeys in the area. And then also all of the hikers in Japan, like the Japanese hikers, will have a bell on their pack or on their walking stick, just to make sure that you always make sound.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
that's controversial in Souk because some people think that the bears get accustomed and they go, "Oh, food!
Yeah,
I want to
it
ring
is.
the bell."
Right.
When you were saying that, I was thinking it was calling them for dinner. You know, the dinner bell.
No, a lot of people are like, "Oh, don't do that." They get accustomed to it, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
there's the human for food."
not just a picnic basket, huh?
Yeah,
If you
because
know
there
that
was
reference.
actually quite a lot of controversy about whether you should put a bell on your dog or not. But
Yeah.
really, what you should do is keep your dog on the lead.
Yeah.
That is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And keeping them on the lead protects the dog.
It does.
Denise, I just have to mention how funny it is also to hear, Rose is talking about, the dog and the bear, and you're talking about like there are monkeys and bears. Like what a crazy kind of combination, right? That's so outside of our frames of reference.
But
And
monkeys
you
are
do a lot
freaking
of-
big and
Yeah,
scary.
and they can be scary.
Yeah, they're awful, aren't they? They've got big teeth.
They have really big teeth.
Yeah. And like in some places they're fearless because they, like Rose saying with the bears, and to get their food, they know and they'll come right up to you and take out of your hand. In some places, I've seen these videos.
Yep.
So you deal a lot with the built environment too. So does that change depending on your location and the light and I guess you're talking about the trekking, but with these wild things. But what about in the built environments that you usually paint?
Not as much. I won't go out here in Canada. I usually don't go out in the winter to take photographs, mostly because I don't get like the clean lines because of the snow, and also because my camera battery will be empty in like 2 seconds if it's -20 or -30. So there is that. I've done it a couple of times if I really needed a shot, but in general, I take my photographs when there's no snow on the ground. But generally, I'm a very practical person, so I didn't really think that the seasons had a lot to do with it, although since I've moved back to Canada, it has influenced it a bit more in terms of the way my studio is situated. I get the afternoon sun, and it goes down really early in the fall and the winter, so I get a direct stream of sunlight on my easel, which is really distracting and also really hot. So I have to close the blinds, which makes the light not as good. So that's sort of an issue. And then there's the varnishing issue where I've recently switched to a solvent-based varnish for my final layer, and I need to spray that. And in order for me to spray, I have to have temperatures of at least 10 plus Celsius. So that means that the entire winter I cannot finish any paintings.
Wow.
So I had like and I was sort of a couple of weeks ago in a race against the clock because I had a couple of new pieces that I needed to bring to a show, and I was waiting for that one day where we would have 10 plus where I could go outside and spray. And it didn't come, and it didn't come, and my show in New York went, and it didn't come, and it didn't come. And I tried spraying with a lower temperature, and I ran into so many troubles. So I had to redo it all, and it means dragging everything outside, like moving the car, dragging all the spraying equipment outside. It's a whole hassle. And then I had this one day, and it was like 2 days before I was leaving for Toronto, and it was 9 degrees, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go for it. And then I had to put my varnish in like a little pot in hot water, and then because I had 9 paintings to spray, so every time I would like put everything outside, put the painting outside, go back inside, fill my sprayer with the hot varnish, spray the painting, run back into the studio, put the varnish back into the bottle with the hot water, change the water because it would have been cooled down before that, and then change the painting and then do it all over again. That 9 times. So that was
Wow.
fun.
It's like warming up the baby's bottle.
I know.
Yeah,
Only
what
more
a hassle.
temperamental. Wow.
That
I
was
had
not
no
great.
idea.
Yeah. But I got it
So
done. So
yeah, that's you all over
What
again.
you do for your art.
I know
So
it's just
now
such a drag.
Denise's new
Because...
spreadsheet is going to have her spraying everything before October 30th.
Yes.
What a change in the way you might work. That's incredible.
Well, it's annoying because everything gets muddy, and like it's usually the time when there's like a lot of ice buildup because where there's thawing and freezing and thawing. So you're sort of slipping across the driveway, and then you're slipping with this big painting that you have to keep sort of level because you just varnished it, and then you have to go get through the door and you drag all the mud inside your studio. It's great. It's really lovely.
Yeah. So you thought you thought the seasons had no effect, but
they
Yeah,
did.
look at that. Yeah.
Maybe
What about you,
should
Cheryl?
hibernate.
Well, even in Japan, it was an issue where the rainy season
I
would
don't have-
make
I
it
don't-
really
I
damp
don't have-
in the house. So working with things like washi paper would be difficult in the rainy
wow.
season. And even there, I'd have to do like a lot of the larger work outside. So in that regard, the weather would also be a big factor. Because my studio is so small there.
Oh my gosh.
what about you, Ross?
So maybe
Incredible.
that's
Yeah,
the
you're
advantage
off.
of working small, see?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, if I would work small, I could put a spray booth inside my studio and do it inside. And that's actually what I used to do when I varnished with solvent based
Non-toxic.
varnishes. I would like make my own spray booth, and I could do it inside, but with the solvent I can't. I really can't.
right. No.
Because there's no ventilation to
Yeah,
exhaust it.
it's not safe.
It's not enough. There's not enough
Toxic, yeah.
ventilation.
No,
Oh, even with, huh?
no, because
Yeah.
it precipitates in the air. Yeah.
Oh,
Like the
geez.
bottle looks like this. I mean,
Oh, look at that
You
big
don't want it.
poison label on there.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Mm.
So what about you, Ross?
yeah.
Well,
Does the seasons
Yeah.
affect you, or do you have any in LA?
Well, yeah, there aren't that many. I mean, this year we had a lot of rain. We don't usually, or we haven't in the past 20 years. It's been very, very droughtful. And, we have light change is really what LA is. It's the most amazing part of the city. You can walk, ride around at one part of the evening and see, oh, I never saw that place before. Oh, it's been there for 20 years. They changed something in the window and now you're seeing it for the first time. So the light shifts a lot here. But I'm better here than I was in the Northeast because, I also have, the winter really drove me down. But I work at night a lot. And that's, I think, there are, I don't know what they're calling them, xenotypes or something like that, where people, they're morning people or they're afternoon, when they tend to do their work. And I work at night. It's like I get started, if I'm really working, then if I get started at midnight, it's like, great, I'm going to be going till, 6 and then I'll go to sleep. It's fine. I like sleeping during the day. No problem. And if it's a bright hot day, this studio is wonderful because it's always cool in here. It's a kind of a sub basement sort of thing. But if it's a cold day, with not a lot of light, it's like, it doesn't matter if there's snow on the ground or not. It like might as well just feel like there's no one, like the day ends at 3 because there's just not enough going on. So if I'm working at night, then it's almost like, well, that's just fine because it's like I'm just set for a different outcome or something. It's much easier for me. But I've just spoken about my studio, and Stephanie, we're so curious to see your studio today, and you're also doing this without a lot of
None.
set
No preparation.
dressing, no preparation.
Yeah.
Impromptu.
Impromptu.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
this was very impromptu. We decided that I was going to give studio / living room tour right at the beginning of this, right at the discussion, right at the beginning of this episode. So here goes. You will find weird stuff around, stuff that, you know, a 14-year-old boy may have left on the ground, like running shoes.
Like
But,
a teenage girl.
And baseball bat.
No.
So I mean, you know, here we go. Like, no, not a teenage girl, not yet. Anyway, so yeah, there's some running shoes.
Not that mom
And
knows
so here-
of.
No, not that I know of. And I was resting my laptop, my MacBook, on his bowl of baseballs here. So there we go.
Are those
Okay,
actual
but let's see the
baseballs?
painting. Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
He's
he
cobalt
he
jealous?
plays baseball. He's really into baseball. He's
Wow,
really
you
into
have-
all sports, actually.
You have a
Okay,
lot
let's see
going
here.
on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's
Nice light there, Stephanie.
Great.
yeah,
light.
we do. I do.
Is this
So
your
this is the
family room
window.
where you're also
Woo!
watching TV and stuff too?
No, that's I don't watch a lot of TV.
Right on.
Jack and Oliver will watch TV in the basement. Yeah, we have a family room in the basement. It's nice, actually. It's finished. So this is I used to do mosaic before while I was painting, actually. So that's one of
Oh,
my
wow.
pieces called The Birds and the Beads, because there are beads in it. Let's see. There are some paintings here on this wall.
Oh wow.
This is my little kind of project wall where I try to stick to it. So here it's very weird. It's not very well displayed. It's like, where am I going to put this painting? I'll just put it on top of the other painting because I have nowhere else to put it. House plant. Here are some paintings that I did in 2020. There were roses. I don't know if you can see.
You're a little high. Can you
You're
bring your
lower.
camera down a
Little
little
high.
bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
how
looks like
lovely.
my screen's frozen. Anyway, from my end, my screen's
No,
frozen.
looks
Oh no,
fine.
there we go. Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then, okay, and then we have my couch.
Jellyfish.
Here's my couch. Here's jellyfish, and here's my Ella Fitzgerald pillow from my painting. Here's another painting of mine, and here's my Bill
It looks
Evans.
great.
My Bill Evans pillow from another painting. Here's another jellyfish. Here's hopefully you can't see the amount, but what I did when I sold my first piece in a gallery, which was actually, I did a show with Denise. Our pieces were side by side, and so this I framed it because I was
Oh,
so
how beautiful
proud
is
of
that?
myself.
Oh my gosh.
I framed
love
the
it.
check and the little picture of the painting. Here's my weird ladybug painting that's not finished. I call
I
her Lady
remember we
Ladybug.
talked
She's
about
not
that when you
finished.
did show the sketchbook.
She's not finished yet, but she will be soon. And then some portraits that are kind of. See, my piano is unfortunately not being used right now, and I do enjoy playing piano, but you know, it has to. I don't know. It has to kind of take. I had to take a break from it when I started painting more in earnest because there's just no room to put my paintings anywhere. So this is
So they're on
kind
the
of my
piano.
painting stand. They're on the piano. Here are more. Here's more paintings here. Here's my other painting of Basquiat.
Mm.
Basquiat, I should say. More on the ground. And then here is sort of this is my table where I, you know, if I'm drawing something, I usually come here and draw it. My bin of accessories, and then can anyone see this okay? My, you know, the drawers that everyone seems to have, you know, that where I keep all my paints. I have more paints in my sunroom. Oh yeah, my sunroom is like an extension of my studio. And then here's my trolley where I keep my paintbrushes and all sorts of other supplies. And there's I don't know if you can see that. Oops, my vision board. Can you see? There's a lovely book that I bought from a lovely painter named Denise Bushman-Pilcher. Can you see that? The Montreal book? Can you
Nice.
see that,
Yes,
guys?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
And then, yeah, and then more paintings along that wall.
And then where do you actually paint?
And then I paint right here. I put my
Oh.
smock over it because this is the painting that I'm just finishing working on. That came from first Cheryl and then Rose and then Lara. And there we go.
How cool.
Now I'm going to put my MacBook back on the ball of baseballs, on the bowl of baseballs.
Thanks for sharing.
So there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a little embarrassing, but it is what it is.
Don't be embarrassed.
I think it was great.
Yeah.
Nothing to be embarrassed about. You should be proud that you make a
Yeah.
space and you're creative no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
How is
grateful
your
to my
work-
husband and son for letting me do this. Like they really don't care. They're like, oh yeah, we never have anyone over.
You had
And
me
when we do,
over.
they go in the basement or in the backyard in the summer.
You had
And we
me
just say, oh,
over.
just go to your place. Right?
That's what a backyard is for.
Yeah. How is your job affecting the time now?
It is
How's
affecting
that
it.
going? Are you better organized?
No, I'm trying to. I'm not. Well, it's been now almost 2 months, and I'm trying to find time where I can paint, find more time for myself to paint. But my problem is that I actually really enjoy the job. You know what I mean? I'm really into it, and I want to make it work, and that's just the way I am. I get into something and I give it my all. So it's just like I give that my all, and I'm trying to give this my all, and I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm depleted.
Well, and being a mom and a wife, it's
Yeah, I mean, luckily my son's at an age now where he's just out playing ball. Like he's on a baseball team like an intramural baseball team, so he's out early in the morning at baseball practice, and then he's out in the afternoons after school, either playing football, baseball, or some other sport. You know, he's always out, and in the evenings he's always out. And Jack plays guitar. He practices in the basement all the time, so we kind of live in silos, and we get together for dinner. But yeah, it's a challenge, like juggling a part-time job, which where I want to do well, I want to excel, and painting. I'm finding it challenging, but I need the money.
Yeah. It's really strange how it's almost like I'm writing my book, and I had that thing about how to find time, and it's almost like arts are really jealous, and you need to almost close down other things. You can't be into patchworking or embroidery or this. It's very, very hard. It's either one or the other, isn't it?
I find it's even.
I'm trying to make it work. Like the whole reason I took the part-time job was to support my painting. It's not vice versa. I want to still paint.
No, but I find
Luckily,
that even my
who
art
got me
career
the job is also a painter, so she understands.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I find even my art career impedes on my painting time. Like even my being an artist, like I've done 2 big shows back to back, and I've spent the last week behind the computer, even though technically I usually only work behind the computer unless I'm doing like composition work. I only work behind the computer between 5 and 7, so I have the rest of the day to paint. But there has been so much like administrational stuff and follow-up stuff and whatever that today was the first day I held a paintbrush. No, that's not true. Yesterday was the first, because yesterday I finished what's in the box over there.
Wow.
And I also volunteer for the Artists Network, and we're getting ready for the Riverdale Art Walk, and I'm doing the graphic design, like the handouts, and and I also help them with their newsletters. Like it's a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna have to let something go. That might be what I let go.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I often think with painting and with art, you often need longer periods of time rather than shorter.
Yes.
It's not the sort of. I mean, you can always. I don't know, go for a walk in an hour or 45 minutes, but you can't really do that with painting. You don't seem to be able to get it out.
No, I like to get a long session in.
Isn't that
I find even 2.5 hours is too short. Like if it's 2.5 hours, I'm like, I'm gonna do it, but I really know that it's not long enough.
Yeah. No, I like a nice long painting session because you get immersed and it's a good vibe. It's just...
we actually had a presentation when I was in Emily Carr. Gosh, I can't remember the artist's name, but it was a sort of he was a well-known animator, I believe, and it was a little video of him talking about just the process of walking back and forth between the parts of his process, like the small things that he did small, and then he did things on a board, and just that in between the process, going back and forth between the layers of what he did, was part of the creativity and was a requirement to be able to do the output. And our instructor had us watch it as visual artists to kind of click in that you need the time. The process is not just, like doing homework. Okay, this is the task, and now I have to do it. There's a different kind of thing going on when you're being creative and you're actually producing something, because all of us creatives know about just the thinking part, but it's the in between, the thinking, the looking back, the sitting, the going up close, the going back, and what happens in between. That's the magic.
Yeah,
it's true.
And you need to allow yourself time to do that.
Yeah, because it's always comparative, isn't it? Art, one stroke affects another, which is comparison. And I also call that my telescope within, that concept of going small, going big, and trying to sort of like juggle everything. You're going big to small to big to small.
Yeah. And it's exercising both sides of your brain, so that you're actually creating the creativity as you're doing it. And then, there's a new idea, and I didn't think of that before, and I could, like Denise, she's got a whole different thing going on around the edges now, right? And it's like you have to give yourself the time to be able for that to emerge, because as artists, we have to allow things to grow from inside us that we didn't know was there before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, you could always think of what you're doing now. I mean, there's a time for everything, if you get my drift, so maybe this is the time when you're enjoying this job, and you're enjoying this time of your life.
I am, but you know what? I was just thinking that
a season for everything.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the weekends though are really precious to me now, because they're when I get to paint, and they're I mean, I do other things too, and I still have to go to the gym. Like I have to work out, because otherwise I get in my head too much. So I need time for that too. But yeah, I'm appreciating the time that I have to paint now much more, because it's not as much as I had before. I'm using my time more wisely.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Wow. I just love talking with you guys. This is always the highlight of my week. I learn things. I hear like I'm not alone in the world. That's one of the benefits of making a collaborative effort,
That's
Adidas. That's us. What's that, Cheryl?
That's a shame, isn't it? Sometimes with artists, we do work by ourselves.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That's the hard slog of it, isn't it?
It is encouraging when we talk like this and we realize that we deal with a lot of the same things, even though we didn't realize it to begin with. But I mean, Denise didn't even think seasons affected her work that much, but
No,
duh.
But then I moved to Canada.
Enjoy the winter.
I'm hearing about the light in LA. That's really cool. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. Well, we're all going to have to do a residency with Cheryl in Australia.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
Plenty of travel in our future, I hope.
Yeah, you can come over whenever you like.
Thanks,
Yay!
Cheryl.
Watch what you say.
Not a cleaner, all right?
Okay.
That's funny.
I'm an artist, not a cleaner.
We don't care about that.
The Talking Head song. I'm painting again. I'm cleaning again. Right. Well, I think we've come to our time today, and just this has been the best. Thank you guys. I just love seeing all your faces and your smiles. And
thanks for hosting, Ross, every week.
My pleasure.
The host with the most.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
It's been a while.
See you next
Everyone.
week.
Okay.
We've got something good to talk about. Bye, everybody out there. Bye-bye.
Bye.